what I've began to realize, which ultimately is everything that matters, is that a life without purpose is meaningless. It's almost no life at all. Everything that you chase, all the pleasures that you give into, everything that you consider to be normal, everything that you are kind of just mindlessly drifting around doing as if it's just something that you have to do, is all meaningless. And it's something that has been on my mind a lot, but I've been battling with it a lot too, because I catch myself so many days of my life where I don't really feel the purpose sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I am drifting around. But then I have those days where I have, fulfilling goals and purposeful goals that I know I need to work towards and know I need to work on. And it's just the feeling that I get when I have purpose is unmatched compared to a feeling of just drifting around. And so I'm battling with this because, sometimes it's like I don't even know exactly how to find that every single day. As a Christian, I know that my purpose for this life, my overall purpose of life, is to glorify God in all that I do, right? But when I'm just mindlessly drifting around without any goals that are fulfilling, without any purposeful, intentional ways of living, everything is meaningless. And I can't fully meet the vision and the path that God has for me because I'm just conforming. And a life of conforming is not a life worth living, in my opinion. And it's really hard to view life like this and, kind of have an idea of how to go about it, but you're not exactly sure. Especially whenever that's all that's around you is a life of conformity, whenever there's so many people around you that are just living their life like that. And you're kind of awake to the fact that there is more, and you understand that this isn't a fulfilling life at all. When you're kind of awake to this, it sucks because you kind of feel like an outsider sometimes. But I'm not going to say it's not a blessing to have, eyes that can truly see. And that's part of following God. That's kind of what following Christ will do for you, is he'll open your eyes to the truths and the realities of the world. Now, sometimes it's hard for me to exactly tell, what my day-to-day purpose is. Sometimes I battle between, a peaceful life where I'm just kind of existing, and then I battle between a life where I'm constantly chasing something. And I've realized that there is a middle ground which you can find that kind of balances it out. And I think it revolves around chasing something, but chasing the things that truly matter. In the end, if your goal is to just chase money, if your goal is to chase pleasure, it's all meaningless. And when I can fully grasp something that is purposeful, that is actually something I'm passionate about, and that I clearly see a vision for how God has pointed me in this direction, when I can clearly see that, you just got to go for it. And I realized whenever I just, send it, like they say, just send it. When you send it, it kind of just comes naturally, and it all just makes sense. It's all fulfilling. Sometimes it's not always clear. And that's what I battle with, I think. Maybe some of you watching this might battle with it too. But sometimes it's not always clear. It's not always clear the things that I need to do or the things that I feel like I should do. But maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's not always supposed to be clear. But the biggest thing I've realized is that a life without purpose is no life at all. And it's utterly just like King Solomon said, it's a chasing after the wind, a striving after wind. It just comes and goes, and there's literally no meaning behind any of it. And so it's like, why waste your time? Why waste your time giving into these pleasures? Why waste your time chasing riches or chasing materialistic things that are just going to vanish anyways? What's the point? I just truly don't find any fulfillment in any of these things anymore. And I hate that I don't sometimes, because it's hard to feel like you belong. It's hard to fit in. But that's just what's important about remembering and reminding yourself, is that we're not of this world, right? We're of the kingdom. And when you can grasp that, when you can understand that this isn't our home, like this isn't our world, it really does change your outlook on a lot of things. And it's kind of just like your mind is elevated to a new level, and you're kind of looking at everything from a different lens, from a more a meaningful lens, and a more like rational lens, in my opinion. I'm kind of just yapping right now, but it's been on my mind so heavily, and when something's so heavily on my mind, I feel the need to share it, because I think about all that most people do revolves around a life conforming to meaningless endeavors. Like that's how most people live their lives. And when you can understand that there's more, when you can see that there is more, you understand that that's all that matters. And that's why I want to share it, because once you see it, there's really no other way to see it. And so maybe that's where I battle, as I go back and forth and I compare myself to the things that people chase of this world, compare myself to people of this world, and I don't feel like I'm doing enough. But then I realize that it's all meaningless anyways.